Welcome to the Drowsy Science Channel, everyone. We'll be delving into the fascinating and complex field of biology tonight. The study of life itself is this. Life is all around us, unending, and developing in ways that are both familiar and completely astounding. From the tiniest cell that hums with invisible activity to the vast woods and oceans that breathe. Researchers have shown that all living things, including plants and microscopic organisms, have innate traits. The frenetic heartbeat of a hummingbird, the ancient voyage of a whale. Through its roots in the ground, a tree whispers to its neighbors. Each serves as a reminder that there is an infinite amount of creativity, strangeness, and connection in life. Please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below if you enjoyed these pleasant excursions. It also makes it easier for others to find their way here, one drowsy person at a time. But for now, get comfortable. Allow yourself to be transported by this intriguing voyage into existence itself, and let the day's noise fade away. Let's get started. Your body's DNA is long enough to reach the sun and back again. DNA is a lengthy, graceful molecule that is carried by every cell in your body. It is nearly undetectable because of how tightly it is folded and coiled. However, the DNA in one of your cells would extend to about 2 meters if you were to meticulously unwind it. Now picture it multiplied by the trillions of cells that comprise your body. According to scientists, if all of your DNA were lined up, it would stretch for billions of kilobases, which is long enough to make many trips to and from the sun. This implies that a thread that may span the solar system is concealed within your skin and bones. In addition to its enormous length, DNA has a complex structure. The guidelines for creating and preserving all that defines you are included in its spiraling ladder. Human fingerprints and koala fingerprints are almost the same. The fact that koalas, the eucalyptus-loving marsupials of Australia, have fingerprints so similar to ours that even skilled forensic professionals find it difficult to distinguish them may surprise you. Out of all the animals in the world, the whorls, arches, and loops of a koala's fingertips closely resemble those of human hands when viewed under a microscope. This similarity is entirely accidental, a result of the skin's ridges being shaped for improved grip by evolutionary forces. Koalas use fingerprints to help them precisely grasp smooth eucalyptus leaves and branches. They might have developed in humans to enhance our object manipulation skills. In Australia, kangaroo prints have occasionally even been discovered at crime scenes, prompting humorous warning messages from law enforcement. We are reminded that evolution frequently finds the same answers to life's problems in quite different species by the fact that such a distant cousin shares this quality. To feed their nests, several ants cultivate fungus. Among the most advanced farmers in nature are leafcutter ants. They take fragments of freshly cut leaves back to their underground nests in continuous lines. However, they aren't actually consuming the leaves. Rather, they use them as fertilizer to produce a unique type of fungus that serves as the main food source for the colony. Ants have been cultivating this fungal crop for generations, taking great care to tend to it, prune it, and keep pests away. To prevent dangerous molds from growing in their fungal gardens, some even release antibiotics from their bodies. Ants have engaged in this age-old method of agriculture for millions of years, long before anyone ever considered growing crops. These ants run prosperous farms inside the shadowy interiors of their nests, supporting large colonies of millions. It serves as a clear reminder that farming is a method that life itself discovered in many forms and is not exclusively human. The limbs of octopuses contain a portion of their brains. Octopuses are enigmatic animals with intelligence comparable to certain mammals. However, their neural system is not limited to a single brain like ours is. Rather, their 8 limbs distribute a large portion of their processing power. Without waiting for the central brain's consent, each arm can operate independently and taste, feel, and even make decisions. For hours following an injury or detachment, an octopus can still react to touch and investigate its surroundings. Because of their scattered intelligence, octopuses are remarkably adept at solving problems. They are capable of navigating mazes, opening jars, and even tricking scientists. They have flexibility and independence thanks to their arms, which enable them to govern their environment with an almost otherworldly grace. This peculiar wiring is a blessing rather than a weakness in the murky and changing environments of the oceans. An entirely survival-oriented design. Your body contains more bacterial cells than human cells. You are more than who you are. You are an ecology in motion. Your body is home to trillions of bacteria, many of which are necessary and the majority of which are harmless. You are actually a mosaic of species since you carry more bacterial cells than human cells. They flourish on your skin, in your intestines, and even in your lungs' wet airways. These microorganisms are not intruders. Rather, they aid in food digestion, vitamin production, and the defense against pathogens. The microbiome is the collective term for all of these microscopic buddies. You would also have a hard time surviving without it. In some ways, you are more of a partnership than a person, a living, breathing community. We are reminded that life is rarely a single activity by sharing every breath, food, and moment with these invisible partners. Chemical distress messages can be transmitted by plants through their roots. Although they may appear to be quiet, placid creatures, plants are everything but under the soil. Many plants send out chemical messages through their roots when they are being attacked, possibly by insects eating their leaves, or by drought stressing their tissues. Neighboring plants can sense these chemical whispers as they move through subterranean fungal networks or dissolve into the surrounding soil. After being warned, those neighbors might bolster their own defenses by thickening their leaves or creating bitter chemicals in anticipation of the same danger. It seems as though plants communicate threats to one another through a silent language of molecules. The sophistication of these exchanges is still a mystery to scientists. Imagine the silent talks that are taking place beneath the surface of a forest or meadow the next time you see one. A secret conversation that keeps the living planet alive. Some jellyfish are biologically immortal because they have the ability to return to a juvenile form. In terms of time, birth, growth, and ultimately death, the majority of creatures are confined to a single path. However, Turtauropsis doni, a type of jellyfish, appears to have discovered an amazing weakness. It has the ability to reverse its life cycle and shrink back from a mature adult to a juvenile polyp in response to stress or injury. It can then grow once more, thereby restarting its own life. The jellyfish is biologically immortal because this cycle can theoretically be repeated endlessly. They may continue to regenerate themselves indefinitely if they are spared, but they can still be eaten by predators or destroyed by illness. Scientists are intrigued by this capacity and wonder if studying the jellyfish could provide insights into regeneration and aging. This little creature, floating silently in the sea, is a conundrum. A frail body with the potential for eternal life within it. Every few days, the lining of your stomach is replaced. Strong acids that may disintegrate food, bone, and even metal swirl and bubble inside your stomach. Your stomach is protected with a unique layer of cells that continuously manufacture protective mucus to shield it from this corrosive water. However, there is a price for this resistance. Even the protecting cells are eventually harmed by the acid. Every few days, your stomach's lining regenerates itself by shedding old, worn-out cells and growing new ones in order to survive. Your stomach would break down on its own without this quick regeneration. It serves as a reminder of how delicate yet strong the body can be, constantly and imperceptibly mending itself to keep you alive. This silent miracle of rebirth occurs with every meal you eat, an unceasing act of self-preservation that is lost in the cadence of daily existence. The heart of a hummingbird can beat over 1,000 times each minute. With their wings beating so fast that they sparkle, hummingbirds are little jewels of the air. Their hearts beat at a seemingly unachievable velocity to maintain this incredible vitality. A hummingbird's heart may beat hundreds of times per minute when it is at rest. However, it may reach speeds of more than 1,000 beats per minute when in flight, hovering and darting among flowers. Their flight muscles receive oxygen-rich blood from this frantic pattern, which keeps them flying against gravity. Even yet, hummingbirds need to constantly replenish their energy by consuming nectar from innumerable flowers every day. They go into a unique state known as torpor at night to save energy, which causes their metabolism to drastically slow down. This delicate balance between survival and weariness is maintained. Every heartbeat in their small chests serves as a reminder of the incredible price of beauty and flight, as well as a whisper of resolve. A dim light bulb could be powered by the energy used by the human brain. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. Although it makes up a little portion of your total weight, it uses roughly 1% of your food and liquids, directing that energy into the quiet crackling of neurons connecting and firing. The electrical activity generated by the brain at any given time is about the same as the power required to light a small light bulb. Within this current, every idea, memory, and dream flickers. More amazing is the fact that this energy powers innumerable unconscious functions as well as conscious thought, controlling breathing, maintaining bodily equilibrium, and combining experiences without your knowledge. The environment of your mind is subtly illuminated by the constant storm of energy that you carry inside your head. The light does not go out when you close your eyes. It still burns, a constant blaze in the shadows. Without a brain, slime molds can navigate mazes. Slime molds are strange creatures that make it difficult to distinguish between fungi, plants, and animals. They have no nerves, no brain, and no specific organs. They do, however, exhibit a problem-solving skill that borders on intelligence. A slime mold was positioned at the entrance of a basic maze with food at the far end in one well-known experiment. The mold gradually spread its tendrils around the maze, investigating dead ends, turning back from ineffective routes, and ultimately determining the best way to get the food. The slime mold surprisingly recalled its previous solution and completed the maze more quickly when it was replayed. Additionally, these species have the ability to link far-off food sources through networks that resemble effective transportation systems, sometimes even surpassing networks created by humans. This is amazing since it all occurs through chemical feedback and growth rather than neurons or conscious thought. It implies that even the most basic forms of life may teach us how to solve problems. Whales' whole life history is seen in their earwax plugs. Whales save their life stories in their earwax, much like trees store their years in rings of wood. Wax builds up in their ear canals over time, creating lengthy plugs that get bigger every year. A chronological record of the whale's experiences is created by capturing traces of its surroundings, contaminants, hormones, and even stress levels in each layer. By looking at these waxy archives, scientists can ascertain the whale's age as well as times when it suffered from starvation or exposure to toxins. A chronology of reproductive cycles, travel patterns, and even ocean conditions is preserved in the wax. This wax turns into a kind of chemical biography for creatures that can travel thousands of miles and live for many decades. It offers a close-up look into the private life of one of the biggest and most enigmatic tourists on Earth. Certain fungi form networks that are bigger than whole forests. Fungi create massive underground webs called mycelium that are hidden beneath your feet and unseen to the naked eye. Together, these little strands can grow to astonishing proportions, like exquisite lace. A single fungus in Oregon is the largest living thing ever found, not a whale or a massive redwood. It connects trees, plants, and soil in a living web that stretches silently beneath the surface of more than 2,000 acres of woodland for millennia. Trees may exchange nutrients, alert one another to pests, and even help out their less resilient neighbors through these hazards. One of biology's silent wonders is this wood-wide web, a secret communication system that hums beneath the forest floor. You are never really walking alone while you're in the woods. You are walking on top of a live, breathing network that is larger than most human cities and older than any building. Tardigrades are able to withstand space's vacuum. Water bears or tardigrades are minuscule animals that are scarcely bigger than a grain of dust. They are, nonetheless, some of the most resilient life forms on the planet. They possess an odd talent. They coil into a dried-out ball, known as a tongue, when the weather gets too harsh, the water runs out, or the temperature drops well below freezing. They can withstand conditions in this state that would kill almost any other life. Researchers have subjected tardigrades to extreme heat, radiation, and even the void of space. They have been discovered to withstand anything, which is astounding. They rehydrate, unfurl, and start crawling as if nothing had happened when the conditions improve. Some scientists think tardigrades, which are buried in frozen rocks, could even travel across planets because of how resilient they are. They serve as a reminder from nature that once life is ignited, it can adapt in ways that are unimaginable. Axolotls have the ability to regenerate back sections of their brain and complete limbs. One of the most remarkable regenerating abilities in the animal kingdom is possessed by the axolotl, an odd salamander found in lakes close to Mexico City. When an axolotl loses a limb, it doesn't just mend or scar. It regenerates the entire structure, including the skin, muscles, nerves, and bones. Axolotls' tails, spinal cords, and even parts of their brains and hearts have been observed to regrow by scientists. In contrast to most animals, they heal without leaving scar tissue, returning to normal function as if the injury had never occurred. For many years, scientists have been captivated by this ability, which has raised hopes that by researching axolotls, people may eventually discover novel approaches to repairing or growing back injured tissues. Aside from their biology, axolotls are unique in that they never completely transform into adults that live on land. Instead, they spend their entire lives in a juvenile aquatic form. They are perpetual children with the capacity for recovery and rejuvenation. Depending on the social environment, some fish can switch sexes. There are fish that don't have a set identity in the dynamic environment of coral reefs. Depending on the balance of their social group, many species, such as wrasses and clownfish, can change their sex. The largest male clownfish will change into a female to replace the dominant female in the event of her death, guaranteeing the group's continued reproduction. There is more to this change than meets the eye. It entails behavioral modifications, hormonal adjustments, and a whole reorganization of the reproductive organs. Days or weeks may pass during the process, a marvel of biological adaptability. This feature helps creatures that live in small, close-knit groups to survive even in the absence of partners. It contradicts our human ideas of biological permanence by demonstrating that, for many species, identity is adaptive rather than fixed and constantly changes to meet the demands of the community. Horses can be knocked down by electric eels' powerful shocks. Living power plants, electric eels are actually a kind of knife fish. They have thousands of specialized cells called electrolytes inside their long, thin bodies that have the ability to suddenly release electricity. A shock of up to 600 volts is produced when an eel releases all of these cells at once. This shock is powerful enough to stun huge creatures and has even been known to knock down a horse wading through water. These shocks are employed for hunting as well as protection. Rapid pulses from electric eels can paralyze their food, making it simpler to devour them whole. They can even detect the motions of neighboring animals in murky waterways by using weaker electric fields, such as a radar system. Seeing one is like seeing an animal that uses electricity as instinctively as we breathe, a captivating and terrifying power. Trees use subterranean fungal networks to communicate. Trees are connected by underground roadways despite their silent presence above ground. Their roots create extensive networks known as mycorrhizae by forming alliances with fungus. Trees may communicate chemically and even swap nutrients thanks to these fungal strands connecting them. For instance, a neighbor who receives sunlight may give sugars to a tree that is shaded. Distress chemicals released by a diseased or insect-attacked tree can spread throughout the network, causing other trees to strengthen their defenses. Because they provide nourishment to saplings that are struggling in the dark, some researchers have dubbed older, larger trees mother trees. This unseen subterranean network has been dubbed the forest internet, a living network that enables trees to collaborate instead of just competing. Imagine the soft hum of conversation beneath your feet the next time you go through the forest. A community of trees connected by fungal filaments. Some fish in the deep water generate their own light. Some animals produce their own light in the gloomy depths of the deep ocean, where sunlight never reaches. These deep-sea fish use a technique known as bioluminescence, in which symbiotic bacteria or unique cells use chemical reactions to produce light. The light may deceive predators, entice partners, or entice prey. While some anglerfish have light organs down their belly that simulate the subtle shimmer of moonlight filtering from above, others have illuminating lures dangling from fleshy rods on their heads, which helps them blend in with the dark surface. In an environment where vision is scarce, light serves as both a weapon and a means of concealment for these creatures. The hues that travel the furthest underwater, blue and green, are frequently used for the lights. Imagine swimming in such silent darkness and seeing tiny stars floating in the Black Sea or the sudden sparkles of living lamps. It seems that even in the darkest night, life will not give up. Every 4 months or so, your body replaces all of your red blood cells. There is a never-ending production line operating in the silent marrow chambers inside your bones. Your body produces millions of new red blood cells every second, the microscopic discs that supply oxygen to every part of the body. Although these cells are amazing messengers, their existence is brief. They become frail and aged after 120 days of circulation. While the bone marrow creates substitutes, the spleen and liver silently eliminate them, recycling their iron and constituent parts. This cycle indicates that almost all of your body's red blood cells have been fully replaced in less than 6 months. This never-ending cycle of death and rebirth is the foundation of every breath you take. At the cellular level, you are continuously renewed. Your very blood is a river that flows through you constantly, changing with the seasons. Humans and giraffes both have the same number of neck bones. A giraffe's incredibly long neck appears to be a construction that must require dozens of bones when it towers over the savanna. However, giraffes actually have 7 cervical vertebrae, which is exactly the same number as humans. The scale makes a difference. A giraffe's neck can have almost 10 inches of length, with each vertebra stacked on top of the others to give it the graceful extension we witness. Giraffes' circulatory systems also contain specific valves that keep blood flowing upward, preventing fainting when they lift or lower their heads. Because of their remarkably adaptable structure, they can browse leaves high in trees that are inaccessible to most other creatures. The fact that we and they both have the same number of neck bones serves as a silent reminder that all mammals possess the same blueprint, which evolution has bent and stretched in radically different ways. For days, certain insects can endure total decapitation. The rules that insects follow are substantially different from our own. Many insects have neural systems dispersed throughout their bodies, in contrast to humans, whose brains are essential for almost every physical function. An insect's body can frequently move for several days after losing its head, breathing through microscopic pores along its sides, and even moving around. Their bodies can function without constant brain control, and they do not rely on their mouths for breathing, which contributes to their peculiar resilience. They eventually perish from malnutrition or dehydration. However, it's both interesting and unnerving that they still live. It draws attention to the similarities between the biology of insects and humans. Even being decapitated does not instantly kill them, since their survival strategies are so effective and dispersed. It seems like a horror tale to us. However, insects see it as just another illustration of their robust design. The pistol shrimp makes a little explosion when it snaps its claw. One of the most peculiar weapons in the animal realm is used by the pistol shrimp, also known as the snapping shrimp. It can fire out a bubble and move faster than sound in water when its enormous claw snaps shut with such incredible speed. Small prey can be stunned or killed by the shockwave produced when the bubble bursts. The bursting bubble even produces temperatures that are almost as hot as the sun's surface for a brief period of time. In addition to being imperceptible to the naked eye, this furious tiny burst produces a flash of light that may be measured using tools. It must be like an underwater explosion to other organisms, from a species that was only a few centimeters long, at that. The pistol shrimp serves as evidence that power is not limited by size. Even the tiniest animals can have weapons that can compete with the power of nature. Certain viruses exclusively infect other viruses. Typically, when we think about viruses, we imagine them infecting bacteria, plants, or animals. Stranger ones exist, though: variphages. Other viruses are paralyzed by these viruses. Although they are unable to multiply on their own, when a big virus infects a cell, the virophage takes over and uses the giant virus's machinery to replicate itself. It sometimes protects the host organism by weakening the larger virus in the process. It is a virus within a virus, a relationship that is practically parasitic and stacked inside another parasite. Scientists' perspectives on the intricacy of microscopic life have changed as a result of this revelation. The viral world is a complex network of relationships, conflicts, and dependencies that is neither straightforward nor predictable. Nature is replete with unexpected hierarchies, even at the tiniest scale, with predators and prey taking on forms that are hidden from view. By weight, spider silk is more robust than steel. Although the strands used to make a spider's web appear delicate, they are among the toughest materials available. Spider silk is more elastic than many contemporary textiles and stronger than steel, ounce for ounce. Although such a structure will never exist in practice, it is theoretically possible to stop a jet in flight with a thread as thick as a pencil. Spiders make various kinds of silk for various purposes. They can use smooth silk to construct frames, sticky silk to snare animals, and even silk strong enough to suspend their whole body. In an effort to develop materials for lightweight construction, bulletproof apparel, and medical sutures, Scientists have long attempted to mimic spider silk in lab settings. It never ceases to amaze me how such a tiny critter can weave such strong fibers. In addition to being exquisite, each glistening web in the morning dew is an engineering marvel that was spun from a spider's body. Tiny polyps no bigger than a pinhead form coral reefs. It's easy to mistake a coral reef for stone when you see its enormous structures and vibrant hues. But reefs are living things, constructed by innumerable microscopic creatures known as polyps. Every polyp is as little as a pin's head. However, when combined, they release calcium carbonate skeletons that grow into enormous colonies. These colonies, which span miles and support an incredible diversity of life, develop into reefs over decades. Despite making up less than 1% of the ocean floor, coral reefs are frequently referred to as the rainforests of the sea, since they are home to 25% of all marine life. With their soft tentacles and delicate jaws, they create constructions that are both durable and brittle. By building living fortresses that defend and maintain aquatic worlds, these tiny architects serve as a reminder that even the tiniest organisms have the power to completely alter ecosystems. Some frogs have the ability to thaw back to life after freezing solid. The wood frog has developed a remarkable survival strategy in the frigid forests of North America. It lets itself freeze nearly entirely when winter comes. Its body turns to ice, its lungs stop moving, and its heart ceases beating. As a natural antifreeze, glucose floods the frog's cells to prevent injury. The frog looks dead in its frozen state, covered in the snow and leaves. But the ice melts when the warmth of spring returns. The frog leaps away as if nothing had occurred, and the heart starts beating once more. Few creatures are able to sustain such a total loss of life. Because of this adaptation, wood frogs can endure severe environments that other amphibians cannot. It is a biological marvel, a creature that patiently waits for the thaw to awaken it by pressing its paws against life itself. The lifespan of a Greenland shark is centuries. The longest living animal that science has discovered is the Greenland shark, a huge, sluggish creature that lives in Arctic seas. Scientists have estimated that these sharks can survive for almost 400 years by looking at the proteins in their eyes. Those that were born before Shakespeare's time are still alive now. They only develop a centimeter or two every year, which is extremely sluggish, and they don't reach maturity until they are over a century old. Their lengthy lifetime is yet unknown, but it might be related to their slow metabolism and the cold, steady waters of their environment. These ancient creatures have been silently moving beneath the ice for the majority of human history, oblivious to the rise and fall of empires above. The Greenland shark's body contains centuries' worth of ocean memory, making it a living time capsule. Even identical twins have different fingerprints. Each person has a unique collection of fingerprints that are not shared by anybody else. Even identical twins with almost identical DNA might have very different fingerprint prints. These arches, loops, and swirls develop in the womb due to a combination of random physical stresses, such as fingers pressing against the amniotic sac and genetic guidance. Since fingerprints are permanent once formed, they are among the most trustworthy indicators of identity. They have been used by forensic scientists to identify people for more than a century. However, fingerprints show a deeper truth than only their usage in criminal investigations. The slightest features nevertheless differ even when biology provides us with near duplicates. Before birth, each individual is a unique blend of fate and design that is indelibly imprinted into their skin. Our hands are little symbols of our individuality. Humans cannot see ultraviolet light, but birds can. The range of hues visible to human vision is red to violet. However, Birds are able to perceive UV light because they have an additional type of photoreceptor. They see colors and patterns in the world that we cannot fathom. Even seemingly unremarkable feathers can include concealed UV markings that help birds identify one another, entice potential mates, or even operate as a sort of invisible paint to camouflage against predators. Additionally, flowers frequently exhibit UV patterns that direct insects and birds to their nectar. They have a survival map that we cannot see. Scientists equipped with specialized cameras have found a world blanketed in hidden signals by peering into their vision. The universe is richer and more vivid for birds than for humans. Their woodlands and skies brimmed with colors that will always be beyond our line of sight. The heart of a blue whale is around the size of a small vehicle. The largest animal on Earth is the blue whale, a living giant that dwarfs even the largest dinosaurs. A massive heart that weighs almost as much as an adult horse and is the size of a small car beats inside its chest. The heart can pump gallons of blood through a body more than 100 feet long with each sluggish, thunderous beat. Remarkably, the whale's heart only beats a few times each minute when it dives, saving energy as it moves through the depths. To visualize this organ is to visualize life on a scale that is significantly larger than our own. Whales have a deep drumbeat that reverberates across the oceans, steady and powerful, whereas our hearts beat quickly and steadily. It is the power behind a creature so enormous that it degrades all known dimensions. One of the few species where men give birth is the seahorse. Seahorses lead lifestyles very different from those of nearly every other animal in the softly swaying seagrass meadows. They are well known for a role reversal that seems more mythical than real. In addition to their delicate fins and curled necks, the males of seahorses are the ones who bear the young. The male fertilizes the female's eggs and supplies them with oxygen and nutrition as they develop after she places them in a particular brood pouch on his abdomen. This pouch adapts its chemistry to the requirements of growing embryos, acting as a miniature womb. When the time comes, the male gives birth to dozens or even hundreds of small seahorses by contracting his muscles. By ensuring that both parents play crucial roles in reproduction, this amazing mechanism doubles the chances of survival for the species. Fathers are the ones who bear the marvel of new life in the quiet waters where seahorses hide. The cheetah can accelerate just as quickly as a sports car. With every muscle and bone built for speed, cheetahs are the savanna's sprinters. Although their highest speed of about 70 miles per hour is frequently praised, acceleration is where they really shine. In just a few seconds, a cheetah can achieve highway speeds, matching the capabilities of some of the quickest sports automobiles in the world. With every step, their long, flexible spines stretch and coil like springs, and their enormous nasal passageways allow oxygen to flow into their lungs. Unlike other cats, their claws maintain their semi-attractiveness while offering traction on grass similar to cleats. However, this spectacular performance doesn't last long. The cheetah's body overheats in less than a minute, causing it to halt and rest. The cheetah can capture nimble prey like gazelles because of these intense bursts of speed, which are precisely calibrated survival tools. A cheetah's acceleration across the African plains is nature's own representation of unadulterated speed. Insects are captured and digested by certain plants to obtain nutrients. Certain plants have developed a remarkable remedy for nutrient-poor soils, where roots find it difficult to obtain the nutrients they require. They go hunting. Pitcher plants, sundews, and Venus flytraps are examples of carnivorous plants that use their seductive smells, vivid colors, or sticky surfaces to attract insects. The plant's trap either draws the insect into a pool of digesting fluid or springs shut after the unwary prey lands. Enzymes gradually decompose the insect's soft tissues, releasing minerals and nitrogen that the plant subsequently absorbs. These plants' peculiar tactic enables them to flourish in conditions where the majority of other plants would perish. The transformation of a leaf into a stomach serves as a reminder of the limitless inventiveness of life, making it difficult to distinguish between plants and animals. What appears innocuous yet conceals a merciless edge, demonstrating that survival in the real world can take on more bizarre forms than imagined. Your bones are always being disassembled and reassembled. Although the skeleton may appear to be a set structure, it is actually alive and constantly changing. Specialized cells called osteoblasts create new bone every day, while osteoclasts break down old bone structure. Your bone remains strong, flexible, and able to heal damage because of this equilibrium. Your entire skeleton gets renewed almost entirely over a 10-year period. Your life is reflected in this procedure. Under stress, including during exercise, bones are rebuilt to become stronger. When not used, they may become weaker. Before you ever notice them, even little fractures are frequently silently mended. Your bones are dynamic tissues that change shape in reaction to the environment you live in, not inflexible monuments. Carrying a structure in continuous renewal is what it means to stand, walk, and move. A lifelong construction project that is peaceful. Acid doesn't hurt naked mole rats. Naked mole rats burrow beneath the dry soils of East Africa in colonies that are more like bug hives than mammalian communities. These hairless rats are strange in many respects, and their biochemistry is peculiar as well. They are almost impervious to some types of discomfort, particularly those caused by inflammation and acid. Naked mole rats react little or not at all to acidic environments that might produce scorching agony in other mammals. Researchers found that the circuits that typically convey this sensation are absent from their nerve cells, which are wired differently. This adaptation might have developed as a result of the high levels of carbon dioxide in the air in their packed tunnels, which dissolve in bodily tissues to generate acid. Naked mole rats can survive underground by ignoring pain sensations that would otherwise overwhelm them. Because of their tenacity, scientists are studying them in an effort to find novel approaches to treating chronic pain in people. Butterflies use their feet to taste. Butterflies are delicate and vibrant and represent beauty as they glide across gardens. However, a more useful design is revealed by their senses. They can sample surfaces only by landing because of the small sensors on their legs that function as taste receptors. A butterfly can quickly determine whether a plant is suitable for laying eggs when it is resting on a leaf. It determines whether the leaf will feed its caterpillars once they hatch based on the substances it detects. These receptors are also used by adult butterflies to locate nectar-rich flowers. They can examine food sources without biting or sampling like mammals do because of this odd adaptation, which also saves time and energy. Imagine having the ability to taste as you move. In a world of ephemeral opportunity, butterflies use every landing as a means of exploration and decision-making to help them survive. As a kind of protection, several lizards can shoot blood from their eyes. The horned lizard, a tiny reptile with one of nature's most peculiar defense mechanisms, inhabits the deserts of North America. It has the ability to shoot jets of blood from small veins close to its eyes when it feels threatened. Predators are startled and even confused by the blood's sudden, vivid exhibition, which can shoot several feet. Sometimes the blood carries compounds that deter potential attackers like coyotes from biting because they taste bad. Only under extreme circumstances, when running away or blending in with the desert sand is insufficient, is this adaptation employed. It's amazing and startling to see a horned lizard use this protection. A reminder that the most surprising tactics are frequently used to survive. Every trick counts in the hostile desert, and even something as dramatic as eye hemorrhage can be used as a survival tactic. Millions of colors can be distinguished by the human eye. Our eyes are wonders of sensitivity, despite their seeming simplicity in comparison to those of certain animals. Red, green, and blue wavelengths are detected by millions of light-detecting cells called cones inside each eye. When combined, they enable the human brain to recognize an incredible variety of colors. Millions, according to scientists. It is easy to notice subtle differences, such as the difference between two colors of green in a forest. Some people who suffer from tetrachromacy may even have much better vision, seeing hues that others cannot perceive. Perception of color is more than just aesthetics. Being able to recognize ripe fruits, healthy plants, or even minor emotional cues in other people's expressions has been essential for human survival. The colors of the world we see are so complex that they are difficult to understand. A living spectrum that is all around us, intertwined into each flame, flicker, blossom, and sunrise. Plastic can be consumed by some bacteria. Plastic-eating bacteria are nature's unexpected ally in a world overflowing with artificial garbage. Researchers have recently found bacterial strains that can degrade polyethylene terephthalate, a common plastic found in bottles and packaging. The lengthy plastic chains are broken up into smaller bits by the enzymes secreted by these germs, which the bacteria subsequently consume. The discovery opens the door to biological remedies for pollution, even though their work is slow in comparison to industrial needs. Scientists are currently investigating methods to improve these enzymes, transforming them into effective recycling instruments. It is both humble and encouraging to consider the possibility that microscopic, unseen species could assist in addressing one of the greatest environmental problems facing civilization. Life itself may ultimately destroy what humans created to last forever. Arms can regenerate in starfish. With their five-pointed symmetry, starfish possess a remarkable gift, the capacity to regenerate destroyed tissue. When a starfish loses an arm to a predator, it can gradually grow a new arm, repairing the intricate skin, muscle, and nerve structures. If a portion of the central disc is still present, certain species can even grow a whole new starfish from a single damaged limb. Stem cells, which are active throughout their lives and prepared to rebuild when necessary, are the source of this regenerative potential. The procedure guarantees survival in a setting where injuries are frequent, even though it takes months to years. This repair's serene, steady patience serves as a reminder that there are numerous coping mechanisms throughout life. Starfish, which represent nature's capacity to start again after loss, have become symbols of renewal in the peaceful tidal pools where they reside. There are remnants of ancient viruses in the human DNA. Fragments of genetic code that are not unique to us are hidden within our DNA. Viruses have infiltrated human predecessors for millions of years, introducing their genetic material into reproductive cells. Some of these viral sequences were passed along from one generation to the next and became permanent passengers. According to current estimates, ancient viruses account for around 8% of the human genome. Some of these pieces have been repurposed by evolution to support processes like immunological responses or even placenta development, but the majority are broken and dormant. In a very literal way, we are viruses ourselves, carrying the scars of ancient illnesses. In addition to serving as a blueprint for humanity, each person's DNA also serves as a record of past conflicts in which viruses left their mark and, in certain situations, became a part of who they are. Ants can become zombies due to some fungi. A parasitic fungus known as Ophiocordyceps conducts a chilling campaign deep within tropical woods. Its spores enter an ant's body and gradually take over after landing on the bug. The ant is forced to leave its colony and ascend to a specific height on vegetation by the fungus's chemicals, which take over its neurological system. The fungus grows within the ant, which clamps down there, unable to escape. The ant's head eventually sprouts a stalk that spreads spores to infect those below. When the ant is forced to sacrifice itself for the spread of the parasite, it appears to outside viewers that the fungus has turned it into a zombie. Both scientists and storytellers have been captivated by this macabre tactic. A reminder that, in the natural world, control and free will are more complicated than they appear. Dolphins have distinct names for one another. Communication is essential in the complex societies in which dolphins live. Researchers have found something remarkable among their various whistles and clicks. Dolphins have distinctive whistles that serve as names. Early in life, each dolphin develops a distinctive call, a sound that helps people recognize them. These whistles are used to alert attention, stay in touch in hazy waters, or rejoin after being separated. Dolphins are remarkably adept at learning and repeating other people's names, which allows them to call out to certain people even when they are far away. This finding implies that dolphin pods possess both intelligence and a sense of individuality. They are reacting to more than simply noises. They are speaking to each other, recognizing each other's identities in a manner reminiscent of human names. Dolphins communicate personal identities across the ocean's depths by speaking a language of recognition in the rolling waves in which they swim. The touches on their leaves are counted by Venus flytraps. One of the most recognizable carnivorous plants is the Venus flytrap, which does not act mindlessly despite its hinged leaves clamping shut on unwary prey. Sensitive hairs that function as switches line each trap. The trap cannot be closed with a single touch. The plant is waiting. To be sure the movement was caused by actual prey and not a stray raindrop or breeze, the trap slams shut if a second contact takes place within 20 seconds. The flytrap keeps counting after it is closed. Digestive enzymes are released in response to further touches from the struggling insect, which break down the prey into nutrition. The Venus flytrap has an almost animal-like awareness due to its capacity to count and react. This patient and calculating plant demonstrates that intelligence can manifest in forms that are far different from brains or nerves. There are trillions of microorganisms in the human stomach. The gut microbiome is a thriving population of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that inhabit your digestive tract. These creatures, which number in the trillions, carry out functions vital to your existence and outweigh the human cells in your body. They aid in the synthesis of vitamins, aid in the digestion of complex foods, strengthen your immune system, and even use chemical signals to affect mood and brain activity. Researchers are finding that everything from metabolism to mental health can be impacted by the health of this microbial population. Every individual has a distinct microbiome that is influenced by their birth, environment, and food. In a way, you are a group of numerous organisms coexisting in harmony rather than a single entity. In addition to being a tube for digestion, your gut is a living metropolis with trillions of microscopic residents that strive to keep you healthy and alive. It is possible for kangaroo rats to live without drinking water. Under the moonlight, kangaroo rats hop across sand dunes in the blazing North American deserts. They seldom ever, if at all, drink water in spite of the dry heat. Rather, they get by directly drawing moisture from the seeds they consume. Their kidneys are uniquely designed to preserve almost all of the water that their bodies contain by concentrating urine to extremely high levels. Because of their nasal passageways, which retain moisture and chill exhaled air, they also lose very little when they breathe. They further shield themselves from the sun's drying heat by spending the day underground. They can survive in areas with almost no water, thanks to this set of adaptations. Seeing a kangaroo rat is like witnessing a species that has mastered desert survival, with a toolkit of silent wonders inside its body that transforms aridity into a home. Waves in the water glow due to bioluminescent plankton. In some coastal locations, waves crash with a ghostly blue hue on warm summer nights. The tiny plankton known as dinoflagellates, which emit light when disturbed, are the source of this enchantment. They produce rippled trails of luminescence every time a swimmer passes by or a wave stirs them. Thousands of them flash simultaneously. The ocean itself seems to be alive with stars to the naked eye. Predators may be deterred by the light's ability to startle them or draw in larger animals that could otherwise consume them. It is an amazing sight to the human eye, transforming the coastline into a sparkling aquatic dreamscape. Around the world, bioluminescent bays attract tourists who silently observe the sea glittering with living fire. It serves as a reminder that even the tiniest living things have the ability to enchant large landscapes. Insects can be tricked into pollinating orchids. Orchids are adept at trickery. Certain species have developed flowers that resemble female insects in both look and fragrance. The illusion attracts males, who then try to mate with the blossom, rubbing up against its pollen. After being duped and dissatisfied, they proceed, only to make the same error on another orchid, spreading pollen from one plant to another. Other orchids generate pollinators that depart with pollen dust by producing scents that resemble food sources. By using these techniques, orchids can procreate without providing nectar, preserving their energy and guaranteeing cross-pollination. Orchids are one of the most diversified plant families on the planet because of their wide range of tricks. Every bloom is a meticulously constructed illusion, a slow-motion biological sleight of hand. Orchids demonstrate that in the natural world, survival can be achieved by sly trickery as much as power. The heartbeats of crocodiles can be slowed to almost nothing. One of the secrets of the ancient survivors, crocodiles, is their remarkable mastery of their bodies. A crocodile's heart rate can drop significantly when it is submerged in water, sometimes to as low as 2 or 3 beats per minute, and occasionally almost ceasing. This enables them to wait for prey without moving for an hour or longer while concealed beneath the surface. They can outlast the patience of animals drinking at the water's edge by conserving oxygen in this way, striking only when the time is appropriate. Energy efficiency is another benefit of this adaptation, which is important for animals that might go weeks without eating. A crocodile's heartbeat becomes a ghostly murmur in the silence of rivers and swamps, almost non-existent, as though time itself stops until the ambush arrives. Venom is produced by the platypus. One of Australia's most peculiar creatures, the platypus, is already a jumble of paradoxes. It has a duck-like bill, lays eggs like a reptile, and breastfeeds its nippleless offspring. But there's still another surprise in it. Venom is produced by the males. Their hind legs' sharp spurs can inject a painful poison during mating season that is potent enough to render rivals or predators immobile. The venom produces severe agony and swelling that can persist for weeks, although it is not fatal to people. Researchers have discovered distinct proteins in this venom that may serve as the basis for novel medications, such as analgesics. Despite being perceived as a patchwork of borrowed characteristics, the platypus is actually a well-tuned survivalist with unique tools. Its venom serves as a reminder that, despite their strange and charming look, even seemingly kind species can have strong defenses. The only mammals that can fly for extended periods of time are bats. Bats are the only genuine flyers, although gliding lemurs and flying squirrels can jump from trees and float on stretched membranes. Their distinctive wings are composed of long finger bones, covered in thin, flexible skin, rather than feathers. Bats are incredibly agile thanks to this design, which enables them to precisely swoop, dart, and hover. Some species do intricate airborne gymnastics to catch insects, while others fly while consuming nectar from flowers. Bats, which make up over 1/5 of all mammal species, have spread to almost every part of the world. Their evolution has been influenced by their capacity to fly, which has affected their social structures, migration patterns, and even diets. Their shadows serve as a reminder that mammals are capable of taking over the skies at night. Bats had mastered flight long before humans did, transforming the skies into their silent highways. Humans will never be able to see as many colors as the mantis shrimp. The tiny yet potent marine crustacean known as the mantis shrimp is well known for two reasons: its incredible vision and lightning-fast strike. Mantis shrimp contain up to 16 different kinds of color-detecting cones in their eyes, compared to 3 in humans. This implies that they are able to recognize hues that are beyond our perception, such as polarized and ultraviolet light. A rainbow may seem like a far more complex spectrum full of colors we cannot even imagine to a mantis, but to us, it is already rich and brilliant. Although the precise mechanisms by which mantis shrimp process all of this information are still unknown, it is believed that they are involved in navigation, hunting, and communication. In mantis shrimp eyesight, certain species' striking, almost kaleidoscopic markings might appear even more amazing. Realizing that what we perceive is merely a portion of reality is achieved by putting ourselves in their shoes. About 1/13 of a person's weight is made up of their blood. The river of liquid that runs through us is heavy and valuable. Blood makes up around 1/13 of an average adult's body weight, or roughly 5 liters, depending on size. There are innumerable functions for this red liquid: delivering nutrients from food, transferring oxygen from the lungs to tissues, facilitating fungus growth, and gathering waste materials for elimination. With immune cells scouting for intruders, it serves as the first line of defense as well. New cells are created in bone marrow, and old ones are eliminated by the liver and spleen, resulting in an unending cycle of blood recycling. The body remains alive and in balance because of its continuous circulation. The body's cells would quickly starve without it. The blood-to-body weight ratio is a subtle mathematical fact that serves as a reminder that each individual has a hidden ocean inside of them that replenishes itself every few months as part of a life cycle. Birds are able to sleep while in flight. Some birds may have to travel thousands of miles during migration, and they may not always be able to stop and rest. Researchers have found that animals such as frigate birds are capable of sleeping while in flight. Researchers discovered, using brain monitoring equipment, that these birds enter a type of unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, in which one half of the brain remains awake while the other half relaxes. This enables the bird to continue gliding, adjusting its wings, and keeping an eye out for danger while it sleeps. Sometimes, although only for a few seconds at a time, the two parts of the brain may rest together. The end effect is a precarious equilibrium between fatigue and survival. They are able to cross broad waters without landing because of this compromise. Birds have developed this peculiar wandering sleep, transforming the sky into their bedroom. But humans need deep stationary sleep. The bombardier beetle defends itself by spraying boiling hot chemicals. The bombardier beetle has one of the most spectacular defenses of any insect in the world. When it feels threatened, it uses unique glands close to its abdomen to quickly spray toxic compounds that are scorching hot. Literally, the reaction is explosive. Hydroquinone and hydrogen peroxide are mixed in 2 different chambers inside the beetle, and when they react with enzymes, an exothermic reaction is produced. With temperatures near boiling water and a popping sound, the mixture is released in a pulsing jet. The outcome is a lasting deterrent for predators such as lizards, frogs, and even inquisitive people. An exquisite and terrifying illustration of the cunning of nature, this little insect carries a microscopic chemical gun. It demonstrates that, despite having bodies little larger than a fingernail, even the tiniest organisms may have defense mechanisms strong enough to compete with those found in scientific labs. The eyes of giant squid are as big as dinner plates. Giant squid move through almost complete darkness in the deep ocean, where light hardly reaches. They have the biggest eyeballs in the animal kingdom, up to a foot wide and roughly the size of a dinner plate, which they use to survive. They can detect even the smallest glimmers of light, like the bioluminescent flash of prey or the approach of predators like sperm whales, thanks to their enormous organs. They have a broad range of vision in the darkness because their pupils are uniquely suited to pick up these elusive signals. Giant squid were the stuff of sailors' myths for ages, and they were hardly ever seen alive. Thanks to contemporary deep-sea cameras, we can now verify that these amazing creatures exist and that their eyes provide a glimpse into one of nature's most extreme adaptations. Gazing into the eye of a big squid is like gazing into the abyss itself, a gaze molded by the ocean's never-ending night. A blue whale's tongue is as heavy as an elephant's. The size of the blue whale is unimaginable. Even the size of its tongue is astounding. A blue whale's tongue, which weighs as much as an adult elephant, is employed to force enormous amounts of water through its baleen plates, which filter away krill schools. Tons of salt water are consumed by the whale during feeding, and only the small shrimp-like animals remain once the whale pushes its tongue forward to drive the water out. The tongue is strong in addition to being enormous. In a single feeding episode, a muscular organ can move hundreds of gallons of water. It is nearly incomprehensible to consider an elephant-sized tongue. However, it is simply another aspect of the blue whale's everyday existence. The tiniest bits of these giants' bodies are titans of function, exemplifying biology on a massive scale. The immortal hydra never stops growing. A little freshwater creature related to jellyfish, the hydra defies the typical norms of aging. Hydras do not appear to deteriorate with age like most other animals do. They may never actually age since they are constantly regenerating, swapping out old cells for new ones. Hydras have no age-related rise in mortality in experimental settings, indicating a form of biological immortality. Although their bodies are simple, just a tube with tentacles, they are brimming with stem cells that can divide and regenerate indefinitely. A hydra can rebuild its entire body from the pieces it has been cut into. They are a favorite topic among scientists who study AU and regeneration because of this ability. The hydra is evidence that life may exist in a variety of forms, some of which defy the constraints we take for granted. These timeless creatures float silently in ponds and streams, everlasting in miniature. Some ants create live bridges out of their own bodies. Army ants crush everything in their path as they march in enormous columns through the South American rainforests. They don't stop when they come across obstructions like gaps or streams. Rather, they use their own bodies to construct bridges. They cling to one another to create lattices and chains that span the opening, enabling the colony as a whole to march over securely. Ants constantly move to strengthen weak spots or increase the span of the bridge as the tide of ants passes over. The ants dismantle the bridge and resume the march after the crossing is finished. These living structures have the ability to dynamically adapt, maximizing efficiency and reducing exposure time. It is instinctive, collaborative architecture without any set plans. You may observe collective intelligence in action as you watch an army of ants construct a bridge out of themselves. The largest organ in your body is your skin. The largest organ of all is visible to everyone, despite the fact that we frequently imagine it to be concealed inside ourselves. the skin that envelops the whole body. About 16% of our weight is made up of skin. It serves as a barrier, protecting us from pathogens, dangerous radiation, and bodily harm. Additionally, it controls our body temperature, keeping us warm by retaining heat or cool through perspiration. Touch is converted into sensation under its surface by networks of nerves, which enable us to experience warmth, pain, comfort, and textures. With millions of cells shedding every day and being replaced by new layers, skin is always renewing itself. We are directly connected to the environment because it even creates vitamin D when exposed to sunshine. The skin is an engineering marvel that combines protection, perception, and adaptation, despite its familiarity. Through this living shield, one first experiences every gust of wind and every ray of sunshine. Even when frozen solid, certain fish can survive. Some fish species survive in temperatures that would kill most other animals in frozen lakes and polar seas. Some generate unique proteins known as antifreeze glycoproteins, which attach to ice crystals in formation and stop them from expanding. Their physiological fluids may stay liquid even below the freezing point of water because of this. Others, such as Antarctic nototheniod fish, are able to withstand the formation of ice in their tissues and blood without experiencing fatal consequences. When the waters thaw in the spring, these fish go back to their regular lives as if nothing had happened. These adaptations demonstrate how adaptable life can be by withstanding seemingly insurmountable extremes. Humans associate freezing with death. However, these fish only have to endure another season. They serve as a reminder that almost every problem the planet faces can be solved by biology. Under their coats, polar bears have black skin. Polar bears appear to be dazzlingly white at first glance, blending in well with the snow and ice of the Arctic. Their fur isn't really white, though. It is composed of light-spreading, translucent hollow hairs that provide the appearance of whiteness. The bear's dark skin behind this camouflage helps it absorb heat from the weak Arctic sun. They are exceptionally effective at remaining warm, even in below-freezing temperatures, thanks to their black skin and translucent fur. Polar bears are able to flourish at the frozen summit of the Earth because of their adaptation, which strikes the ideal balance between thermoregulation and concealment. It is a powerful illustration of how natural appearances can conceal the underlying mechanisms of survival. The tongue of a chameleon can grow longer than its body. Although they are adept at hiding, chameleons also have a remarkable hunting strategy. Within a fraction of a second, a chameleon rapidly extends its tongue in response to approaching prey. Elastic tissues that store energy like a spring and release it explosively power the tongue. Some species have tongues that wrap around insects with a sticky tip and can reach more than the length of the chameleon's body. Even when the reptile is chilly, when most animals are lethargic, this mechanism is so strong that it continues to function. Prey is drawn directly into the waiting jaws as the tern retracts nearly as fast as it extends. The chameleon, despite its slow-moving camouflage, is actually one of the world's fastest hunters, capable of making precise strikes in a split second. Before trees, there were sharks. Our understanding of time is called into question by the account the fossil record provides. Long before the first trees were planted on land, more than 400 million years ago, sharks first appeared. These predators have been roving the oceans for hundreds of millions of years, adjusting to planetary shifts and cataclysmic extinctions. They are flexible and buoyant because cartilage, not bone, makes up their bodies. Sharks have developed sophisticated senses over many generations, such as electroreception, which enables them to pick up on prey's subtle electrical cues. Sharks have a durable lineage that is older than forests and even older than the mountains we see today, despite the emergence and extinction of other species. One can get a sense of the long history of life by imagining sharks swimming in ancient waters when the land was still arid. They are survivors from an old world, living relics. After injury, the human liver can regenerate. The liver is one of the human body's most amazing organs in terms of its capacity for regeneration. The residual tissue can regrow to its full size in a matter of weeks, even if up to 2/3 of it is removed. This ability is essential because the liver does hundreds of tasks, such as creating bile for digestion and filtering pollutants. Liver cells duplicate in a manner that recovers both structure and function, in contrast to scar tissue that develops elsewhere in the body. In myths like the one about Prometheus, whose liver was consumed every day and regrew every night, ancient healers recognized something peculiar about the liver. Today, liver procedures and transplants are made possible by this regenerative ability. One of nature's most abundant gifts to the human body is the reminder that even the most intricate organs have the capacity to store repair blueprints. In relation to their body size, barnacles have one of the largest organs in the animal kingdom. Despite their seemingly insignificant appearance, barnacles, crustaceans that adhere to rocks and ships, have one of nature's most severe adaptations buried inside their shells. One of the largest reproductive organs in the animal kingdom is found in barnacles, despite their small bodies. Barnacles developed remarkably lengthy appendages that can reach nearby individuals since they are immobile and cannot move toward mates. Despite being immobile, these organs can reach up to 8 times the length of the body in certain species, ensuring successful reproduction. This adaptation demonstrates how evolution overcomes limitations and comes up with novel answers to life's problems. One of the more unexpected extremes of the ocean is hidden behind what appears to be a simple crusty shell on a pier. One of the best constructors on Earth is the termite. Despite being small and frequently seen as pests, termites are incredibly large-scale engineers. Together they construct imposing mounds that are more than 30 feet high and equipped with ventilation shafts, temperature control, and moisture management. Millions of people live there in a civilization with many different roles, ranging from laborers and soldiers to a queen who can live for many years. Human architects study their well-designed mounds to develop passive cooling techniques for structures. By enhancing soils, promoting plant development, and recycling wood and plant matter, termites also influence ecosystems. Despite their diminutive size, their combined influence is comparable to that of much larger animals. A termite mound is a silent monument to the strength of teamwork, a skyscraper of soil built grain by grain as you pass it. Bees are able to identify human faces. Despite their reputation as busy pollinators, bees may be surprisingly intelligent. According to experiments, bees can use the same type of pattern recognition that humans do to identify and recall human faces. Through the use of basic incentives, researchers were able to show that bees are capable of differentiating between various human photos and recalling the characteristics that define each one. Their need to negotiate intricate flower forms and landmarks when foraging is probably the source of this talent. The ability of a brain as little as a pinhead to perform such tasks is astounding to us. It serves as a reminder that intellect is determined by efficiency and adaptability rather than just size. In addition to carrying pollen, each bee buzzing around a garden also carries a mind that is able to recognize and remember things. Penguins use pebbles to pop the question. Penguin courting can take many endearing shapes in their frigid environments. The pebble present, however, is possibly the most charming. Male penguins frequently look for the smoothest, most ideal stone possible and show it to a possible partner. The female utilizes the pebble to assist in building their shared nest if she agrees. More than just symbolic nests fashioned of stones, This practice keeps eggs safe and dry above shifting ice and melting snow. Offering a pebble strengthens relationships between partners and is both considerate and practical. A simple act of love and cooperation is demonstrated in one of the most hostile settings on the planet, when one watches penguins waddle on ice with stones that have been meticulously chosen. Certain frogs carry their young in their abdomens. The Australian gastric brooding frogs have one of the most unusual methods of child rearing. In these extinct species, the fertilized eggs were eaten by the female and allowed to grow safely in her stomach. Interestingly, her digestive system shut down during this period, preventing the creation of acid in order to protect the developing tadpoles. Her tummy grew over the course of several weeks as her young matured, and eventually fully grown froglets came out of her mouth and into the world. Nothing else in the animal kingdom reflected this flip of digesting into nurture. Scientists are examining conserved specimens to gain a better understanding of the species' distinct biology, despite its extinction in the 1980s. If their extraordinary skills could ever be replicated or used, it could lead to advancements in medicine that control digestion or even safeguard embryos. These frogs provide evidence that even a stomach may become a cradle of life through evolution. Only at night do some plants emit fragrances. Certain plants come alive with aroma in the silent hours following dusk. Flowers like moonflower, jasmine, and evening primrose time the release of their scents to correspond with the activities of their nocturnal pollinators, which include bats, moths, and moths. They lead these evening guests straight to their blossoms by saturating the night air with fragrant scent. Because of this adaptability, the plants can flourish without posing a threat to bees or butterflies that are attracted to daylight blossoms. These perfumes have complex chemistry, frequently involving volatile oils that are released as humidity increases and temps drop. People find it enthralling to stroll through a nighttime garden scented with these scents. For the plants, however, it is just a matter of survival. It is a deliberate enticement for the animals that guarantees reproduction. With unseen conversations of aroma carried on the night breeze, it serves as a reminder that life's rhythms continue long after darkness falls. Hungry members of the colony share food with vampire bats. The most well-known characteristic of vampire bats from Central and South America is their penchant for blood. They fly out every night to hunt food, usually livestock, from which they can drink tiny amounts without suffering long-term damage. These bats are remarkably gregarious and giving, though. One runs the risk of starving in a matter of nights if it doesn't feed. Successful bats will regurgitate blood meals to share with their hungry comrades in order to avoid this. This sharing isn't just happening. Bats establish a system of reciprocity and trust by keeping track of who has previously assisted them and returning the favor on subsequent evenings. The colony is strengthened by the social ties created by these interactions. Even in the harsh facts of nature, compassion is essential, as demonstrated by the fact that what may appear to be a malevolent species is actually an animal that thrives on collaboration and kindness. Temperatures as hot as the sun are momentarily produced by the snap of the pistol shrimp. Despite its diminutive size, the pistol shrimp possesses one of the most striking weapons seen in the water. It produces a cavitation bubble that bursts with explosive force when it jerks its enormous claw shut. The collapsing bubble creates a flash of light and temperatures similar to the sun's surface for a moment. By shocking or even killing adjacent creatures, this tiny explosion enables the shrimp to seize its meal. Submarines may detect the sound, and in shallow waters, colonies of pistol shrimp can produce a cacophonous background. The fact that this achievement was accomplished solely by the use of pressure, water, and physics, not fire or heat, makes it even more incredible. Nature has created a small living weapon in the pistol shrimp that transforms the ocean into a destructive force. Dragonflies have nearly 360-degree vision. Among the world's most skilled aerial hunters are dragonflies. Their compound eyes extend almost completely around their heads, providing them with a field of view that is nearly 360 degrees, and their vision matches their talent. This implies that not much can get close to a dragonfly without being seen. Up to 30,000 separate lenses, each catching a minuscule portion of the visible world, are housed within those enormous eyes. When combined, they give dragonflies the ability to see almost everywhere and to detect motion with remarkable accuracy. This enables them to capture prey in mid-air, frequently with success rates higher than 90%. A dragonfly sees the world as a dynamic tapestry of color and movement that is much more complex than the human eye can comprehend. They are the insect world's living combat jets thanks to their vision and flying control. To avoid predators, sea cucumbers have the ability to expel their organs. Although sea cucumbers appear to be uncomplicated, slow-moving organisms, they have a remarkable protection system. Some species release internal organ parts through their backs when they are in danger and tangle and divert predators with toxic tissues or sticky threads. This adaptation enables the sea cucumber to escape, despite the fact that it may sound self-destructive. Remarkably, the destroyed organs regrow in a few weeks. This tactic of sacrifice illustrates the inventiveness required for ocean survival. Cucumbers literally preserve their life by discarding pieces of themselves, then rebuilding what was destroyed. It is both unnerving and incredibly motivating to watch one in motion. A striking reminder that even the most bizarre tactics may work in nature. Risks are necessary for survival, and for sea cucumbers, the danger of organ ejection is worth it every time. The pressure produced by the human heart is sufficient to propel blood many feet. A pump the size of a fist, your heart beats over 100,000 times every day. But it's easy to underestimate its strength. It creates enough pressure with each contraction to force blood through your body's more than 60,000 meters of vessels. In actuality, the pressure is high enough to shoot blood several feet if an artery were cut. To guarantee that oxygen and nutrients get to the smallest capillaries in the body's extremities, this force is required. The heart will pump billions of times over the course of a lifetime, filling several Olympic-sized swimming pools with blood. From the time of your birth until your last breath, it does all of this without stopping. The heart is not just a representation of love. It is a relentless engine that quietly but unstoppably propels life's rhythm. Fireflies emit light instead of heat. With their gentle, flickering light, fireflies turn forests and meadows into magical settings on hot summer evenings. Their illumination, known as bioluminescence, is created without the need of heat, in contrast to the majority of light types that we are familiar with. Chemicals like luciferin and luciferase are combined with oxygen by special cells in their abdomen to produce light that is virtually 100% efficient and loses very little energy as heat. Each species produces a different flashing pattern to lure mates with its cool light. For fireflies, their brilliance is a language of love and recognition, but for humans, it evokes awe. The effectiveness of this light has long astounded scientists who are researching its potential uses in imaging, medicine, and sustainable technologies. Even the tiniest organisms may light up the dark with a brilliance that surpasses our own creations, as demonstrated by the firefly's tiny lantern. The blood of horseshoe crabs is blue. Horseshoe crabs, which have long tails and armored shells, are survivors of a lineage that predates the dinosaurs and scurry around coasts. There is an amazing peculiarity concealed within them. Instead of being red, Their blood is blue. Horseshoe crabs use copper-based hemocyanin, which turns blue when oxygenated to carry oxygen, in contrast to humans who use iron-based hemoglobin. Additionally, their blood possesses unique cells that, when exposed to bacterial toxins, coagulate immediately. Humans have been able to use this defense. Because of its unparalleled sensitivity to pollutants, horseshoe crab blood has been used for decades by the biomedical industry to test the safety of medicines and medical equipment. These ancient creatures come ashore to procreate every spring. An undiscovered gem of evolutionary history is their blue blood. They remind us that there are many different and creative ways to survive in life, and that these answers are frequently stranger than anything we could come up with on our own. Because of surface tension, several insects are able to walk on water. Insects known as water striders are so light and well-balanced that they can move across pond and stream surfaces without sinking. Tiny air bubbles are trapped and unable to overcome the surface tension because of the small hairs covering their legs, which repel water. They may catch insects stuck on the top or avoid predators below thanks to this adaptation, which enables them to skate across still waters with ease. Water's molecular bonds give it surface tension, which forms an imperceptible layer that is resistant to breaking. These insects view water as a solid surface, whereas humans fight against its density. Their power comes from evolution's supplied physics rather than magic. Invisible energies are transformed into stepping stones by nature. It's like witnessing gravity momentarily suspended as you watch water striders glide. A beautiful dance on a stage made of liquid. There is enough iron in your body to form a little nail. A crucial component of your body is iron. The majority of it was bound within the red blood cells' oxygen-carrying hemoglobin molecules. Even if the sums appear small, they add up. About 3 to 4 grams of iron, or enough to forge a small nail, are carried by the average person. By binding oxygen in the lungs and releasing it to tissues that require it, this silent metal keeps life going. Cells would starve in a matter of seconds without iron. Iron atoms, like laborers passing buckets in an infinite chain, continuously bind and unbind to enable every breath you take. It is humbling to think that something so obviously ordinary could contain the secret to existence itself. Your body was finally woven with iron that had been forged in ancient stars and dispersed over space. You are breathing with stardust that has been transformed into a living system each time you take a breath. Some birds use the Earth's magnetic field to guide them. One of nature's biggest mysteries is migration. Additionally, many birds travel thousands of miles across continents and oceans. Researchers have found that certain animals are able to feel the Earth's magnetic field and use it as a compass to direct their flight. They may have unique proteins in their eyes or microscopic magnetite particles in their tissues that contribute to this capacity, which is called magnetoception. Birds depend on this unseen map, as evidenced by experiments that reveal that they can become confused when subjected to changed magnetic fields. They see the world as stacked with clues that are invisible to us. Magnetic lines below, scents on the wind, and stars overhead. They are able to travel great distances with remarkable accuracy and locate the same nesting locations year after year because of this secret sense. It is a navigation system encoded in the planet's basic forces rather than on charts. Jellyfish are heartless and brainless. One of the oldest living things, jellyfish have been cruising the seas for almost 500 million years. They lack the brain and heart, two organs that most animals deem vital despite their extended lifespan. Rather, they coordinate their movements and react to stimuli using a decentralized nerve net. Simple muscle contractions drive their pulsing movements, and rather than using a circulatory system, nutrients diffuse through their bodies. Jellyfish, however, are found in almost every ocean, from deep pits to shallow beaches, despite their simplicity. Some even illuminate the dark seas with bioluminescence. Their ability to survive without sophisticated organs challenges our conceptions of what is essential for survival. Sometimes simplicity is the best design, as evidenced by the fact that the brainless creature has survived for longer than innumerable species with far more sophistication. Throughout their lives, oysters can change their sex several times. As men at birth, oysters produce sperm in their early years. Many become female as they become bigger and start laying eggs instead. Interestingly, they have the ability to revert to their previous state based on environmental factors and population demands. Because of their adaptability, oyster colonies are able to keep sperm and egg producers in balance, facilitating smooth reproduction. Changes in hormones and energy requirements govern the change, demonstrating the malleability of biology. As they cling to rocks, oysters appear to be motionless and uninteresting, but they are actually adaptability experts. Their capacity to change roles makes gender a flexible reaction rather than a fixed identity, ensuring survival under changing circumstances. Oysters subtly remodel themselves in estuaries according to the tidal rhythm as life demands. Rattlesnakes have unique pits that allow them to sense heat. Rattlesnakes use heat vision, a covert weapon, to hunt in the dark. They can sense the warmth of prey even in total darkness because of particular pit organs on their faces that can detect infrared radiation. By recording the surroundings in temperature contrasts, these pits function as organic night vision goggles. In the rattlesnake's mind, a mouse moving through grass shines like a beacon, directing its lethal strike. Because of how sensitive this adaptation is, rattlesnakes can pick up on variations as tiny as a fraction of a degree. They are fierce hunters because of this and their lightning-fast reflexes. The concept of seeing heat seems like science fiction to humans. However, it is a sense that affects their world as surely as sight or sound does for us, and for rattlesnakes, it is an everyday reality. In the winter, wood frogs can stop their hearts entirely. Wood frogs survive winter in North American woodlands by embracing ice. They permit themselves to solidify when temperatures drop. Ice crystals form in their bodies, their lungs stop breathing, and their hearts stop pumping. They use glucose, which functions as antifreeze and shields fragile structures from harm, to fill their cells in order to survive. They stay in this suspended position for months, seeming dead under the leaves and snow. Then their hearts start beating again when the warmth of spring returns. They jump away as if nothing had occurred when their bodies defrost. Scientists trying to figure out how cells can withstand such stress have been captivated by this natural freeze-thaw cycle, which is exclusive to vertebrates. The wood frog is a living example of how even death-like silence may be fleeting, a break in the cycle of life that culminates in rebirth. Crows are able to use tools. Among the few creatures known to make and use tools are crows, which belong to the clever corvid family. They have been observed shaping leaves into probes to retrieve insects from cracks, bending twigs into hooks, and dropping nuts on roadways for automobiles to shatter. Crows can solve multi-step problems that require planning and forethought in lab testing, matching primates' problem-solving abilities. They ensure that the use of tools is passed down through the generations by imparting information to their offspring. Such conduct demonstrates not only intelligence, but also culture, including customs of learned behavior specific to particular crow communities. Observing a crow use a stick to get food is similar to seeing a mirror image of our own evolutionary path in another species. We can see traces of creation in their nimble movements and keen gaze, demonstrating that creativity is not just a human trait. To protect their colony, some ants detonate themselves. Some carpenter ant species have developed a gloomy but practical defense in Southeast Asian jungles. Worker ants have the ability to burst glands within their bodies in response to danger, producing toxic, sticky substances that render predators immobile or even kill them. Although the individual is sacrificed, the colony as a whole is protected by this suicidal act. Autotophasis, or self-destruction for the larger good, is the term used by scientists to describe this adaptation. By using its own remains to prevent intruders, the exploded ant's body serves as a barricade and a weapon. The survival of the group comes before the survival of the individual, making it one of the most extreme instances of altruism in nature. These ants serve as a reminder that perseverance tactics in life frequently transcend the individual, demonstrating how even death can be viewed as a selfless gesture in certain cultures. The majority of your brain is made of water, although the human brain, which houses memory, imagination, and thought, may seem solid and dense. It is actually made up of roughly 75% water. The delicate ion balance and electrical activity that enable neuronal communication depend on this high water content. The brain depends on adequate hydration, as evidenced by the fact that even minor dehydration can affect mood, memory, and focus. Water is more than simply a filler, though. It cushions cells and facilitates the movement of waste products and nutrients, altering the fundamental structure of brain tissue. The basic function of water in life is shown by the fact that our most sophisticated organ is constructed from such a basic material. Although the brain is sometimes referred to as an electric organ, it is actually a watery one at its core, a shimmering ocean of thought housed inside the skull. Animals without organs or nerves are called sponges. Sponge life is connected to rocks and resembles plants in the quiet waters of lakes and seas. They are among the most basic animals, though. They lack muscles, nerves, a brain, and organs, in contrast to most other organisms. Rather, their bodies are permeable structures that allow water to pass through, delivering oxygen and nourishment. Water is drawn in by tiny cells with beating flagella, which catch microscopic particles like germs. Sponge life predates the emergence of complex animals by hundreds of millions of years, despite their simple appearance. They serve as aquatic environment cleansers by filtering enormous volumes of water every day. Some create strong chemicals that repel predators. These substances have served as the basis for human medications. Sponge life demonstrates that complexity is not necessarily necessary for life to persist through their silent, motionless existence. Even simplicity can be a very effective survival tactic. Some squids can divert predators by separating their luminous arms. Misdirection is often the key to surviving in the black waters. Certain squid species have developed an amazing skill. They have the ability to separate one arm when threatened, which causes it to writhe and light up in the water. While the squid hides in the shadows, the bioluminescent display serves as a deception, attracting predators' attention. For minutes, these arms keep twisting and shimmering, giving the appearance of a living thing. This modification is a variation on the lizard's tail-dropping tactic. Light, however, becomes an even more powerful diversion in the deep sea. Because of its flashes and movement, the luminous limb is alluring to predators. Safe for another day, the squid disappears into the darkness. It serves as a reminder that survival in the deepest places, where danger is hidden, may require giving up certain aspects of oneself in order to protect the whole. Deep subterranean bacteria do not receive sunlight. Life exists in total darkness in rocks and aquifers located miles below the surface of the Earth. Since sunlight never reaches these bacteria, they are not dependent on photosynthesis. Rather, they rely on chemical energy to thrive, consuming gases such as sulfur, methane, and hydrogen, as well as minerals. Some have been discovered in habitats that have been shut off for millions of years, and they continue to exist in solitary water pockets, sometimes requiring years to split once. Their slow metabolisms enable them to survive in environments with limited resources. By demonstrating that organisms may flourish in previously believed sterile environments, this discovery has broadened our knowledge of the limits of life. It also poses intriguing queries regarding extraterrestrial existence. Microbes may be able to survive in subterranean waters on moons like Europa or beneath Mars if they can live deep underground here. It appears that soil life needs much less than we previously thought. The stench of rotting flesh can be mimicked by certain plants. In the kingdom of plants, deceit is frequently concealed by beauty. Large blooms that smell disturbingly like rotting meat are produced by species like the corpse flower and a carrion cactus. This hideous scent is not an accident. Rather, it is a lure meant to draw in flies and beetles that typically consume carrion. Attracted by the scent, the insects scuttle across the bloom, collecting pollen and inadvertently transferring it to the next foul-smelling bloom. The approach uses a lot of energy. It pays off with consistent pollination, but certain flowers produce heat to disperse the fragrance further. Because of its enormity and strong stink, such a bloom is unforgettable to people. For the plant, what seems hideous to us is a clever way to turn the disagreeable into a means of survival, demonstrating once more how varied and surprising nature's tactics can be. Half of a dolphin's brain is awake while they sleep. Dolphins must surface to breathe. Therefore, unlike humans, they are unable to completely fall asleep. Unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, which shuts down one half of the brain at a time while keeping the other half awake, is their solution. This enables them to sleep while being vigilant about their environment, keeping an eye out for any threats or monitoring their group. Even one eye, which is linked to the active hemisphere, remains open. To ensure that both sides of the brain receive downtime over a 24-hour cycle, dolphins alternately rest each side of the brain. As they tend to their young, mothers who have calves frequently cut back on their sleep even more. This delicate balancing act demonstrates how life adjusts to ever-changing pressures. Dolphins swim and breathe while dreaming quietly in half of their minds, whereas humans seek out silence to rejuvenate. Over 1 trillion odors are detectable by the human nose. Most people don't know how strong your sense of smell is. There are hundreds of different kinds of receptors in your nose, and each one is adapted to react to particular molecular structures. When combined, they enable the human brain to detect minute variations in an astounding array of scents. According to scientists, the human nose can distinguish approximately 1 trillion different aromas, ranging from the freshness of rain to the smallest hint of smoke. With aromas that can instantaneously take us back to our early years or long-forgotten experiences, smell and memory are very closely related. Our ancestors were able to find food, stay safe, and negotiate social relationships thanks to this sensory abundance, which developed for survival. Smell may be one of our most sophisticated senses, while being frequently eclipsed by sight and hearing. Every breath is a library of unseen chemicals that your body subtly converts into meaning. It's not just air. For flight, birds have hollow bones. Birds had to overcome the obstacle of weight in order to fly. Lightening their skeletons was one of evolution's responses. Unlike human bones, which are solid, bird bones are filled with air holes held up by slender, robust struts. This design allows for flying by reducing weight without compromising strength. Additionally, the bird's respiratory system is connected to hollow bones, forming a network of air sacs that facilitate effective breathing under the demanding conditions of flying. Part of what enables birds to maintain strong wing beats for hours at a time is their twin function of lightness and oxygen exchange. Humans associate solidity with bones. However, in birds, they are precisely balanced compromises that combine strength with fragility. Every feathery creature that soars above you has a fragile yet remarkably robust skeleton, specifically tuned for life in the sky. For a month, cockroaches can survive without nourishment. Because they can survive in conditions that would kill many other organisms, cockroaches are renowned survivors. Their thrift is one of their secrets. Because of their slow metabolism and effective nutrient storage, cockroaches can go up to a month without eating. They are dependent on water, fat stores, and patience. They are opportunistic and will eat anything from book bindings to glue to crumbs, even when food is readily accessible. They are almost tough to eradicate after they have infested human homes, in part because of their persistence. They use even more sophisticated survival techniques. They can survive days without their heads, survive severe radiation doses, and flourish in the dark. Although they are sometimes hated, cockroaches are actually endurance marvels, creatures that demonstrate how life can adjust to nearly any adversity. They serve as a reminder that in the game of survival, perseverance frequently triumphs over perfection. Spinal cord regeneration is possible in salamanders. The ability of salamanders to regenerate is unparalleled among vertebrates. They may regrow a lost limb, including its bone, muscles, and nerves. Their ability to rebuild portions of their brains and spinal cords is even more astounding. Researchers have observed axolotls, a type of salamander, heal severe wounds that would paralyze most other creatures. In order to regenerate tissue in a way that restores both form and function, dormant stem cells must be activated. This capability is extremely motivating for people whose spinal injuries are frequently irreversible. By discovering the secrets of salamanders, scientists hope to improve our own capacity for mending in the future. A deep lesson that life in certain forms has the ability to not only withstand wounds, but also to virtually erase them, may be discovered in the salamander's silent, methodical motions. Kangaroo babies are tinier than jelly beans at birth. The manner in which kangaroos, the famous marsupials of Australia, give birth to their young differs greatly from that of humans. After only a month or so of development, a newborn joey is born, coming out little more than a jelly bean, hairless and blind. It automatically crawls into its mother's pouch despite its fragility, where it attaches onto a teat and grows safely for months. The joey completes the development it was unable to handle in the womb by receiving warmth, milk, and protection within the pouch. It starts to peek out as it gets bigger, then hops in and out before permanently leaving the pouch. Because of this special technique, kangaroos may procreate effectively in hostile settings where it would be dangerous to carry offspring inside for extended periods of time. One of the most charming adaptations of nature can be found in joy's small, unlikely voyage. Metal can be dissolved by the acid in your stomach. Your body contains a chemical solution that has the ability to corrode metal. Iron and zinc can be dissolved by gastric acid, which is mainly made up of hydrochloric acid. Naturally, its main function is to convert food into nutrients the body can absorb, but it also has incredible strength. Your stomach produces a thick layer of mucus to shield itself from the acid, which stops it from breaking down your own tissues. Nevertheless, the lining needs to regenerate every few days. Your stomach would turn on itself in destructive rage if you didn't have this resistance. It is amazing that such a toxic fluid can live in peace inside of us. It serves as a reminder of the fine line that separates nourishment from destruction. A corrosive power that would melt metal dissolves every meal you eat. However, it becomes the basis of life in your body. The skulls of several deep-sea fish are transparent. The hardy fish, is an almost surreal species that dwells in the terrible depths of the ocean. Its eyes and internal organs are visible through its translucent head, which resembles a glass dome. This modification shields the fish's delicate retinas while enabling it to gather dim light from above. Without moving the body, the tube-shaped eyes may rotate inside the transparent shield and scan forward and upward. The sight of a windowed head gleaming dimly in the Black Sea is unsettling to the human eye. But it's survival for the barreleye, a method for identifying prey that is silhouetted against the surface's faint illumination. These strange adaptations serve as a reminder of how alien Earth's oceans may feel, teeming with life forms that defy our preconceived notions of what a body should be. Monarch butterflies travel thousands of miles during their journey. Monarch butterflies make one of the most spectacular migrations in the animal realm every year. They migrate thousands of miles south to overwintering areas in central Mexico from their starting points in Canada and the northern United States. The voyage is not completed by a single butterfly. Rather, it crosses several generations. One generation flies a portion of the route, breeds, and then passes away, leaving its progeny to carry on the tradition. The younger generations, led by instinct, the sun and Earth's magnetic field, somehow know where to go, even though they have never been there themselves. Millions congregate in woods by fall, huddled on trees so close together that branches buckle beneath their weight. It is a living, fluttering tempest of orange and black wings to stroll through such a grove. Compared to many of the largest animals on Earth, this fragile insect has a more dramatic migration journey. A hummingbird's heart may cease beating while it is asleep. Few animals can match the intensity of hummingbirds' daytime existence. Their hearts beat at more than 1,000 beats each minute, and their wings can beat up to 80 times per second. However, they go into a state known as torpor, which is a form of regulated hibernation at night to save energy. Their metabolism slows down, their body temperature lowers sharply, and their heart can remarkably stop beating for brief periods of time. Most animals would die from this, but hummingbirds use it as a survival tactic. They save enough energy by practically shutting down so they can live until morning, when they can start their desperate quest for nectar again. In a hummingbird's life, the contrast between day and night is astounding. From a moving swirl of motion to a diamond in suspension, still and awaiting dawn. Certain beetles may withstand total decapitation. Some beetles may survive for days after losing their heads, which may sound like a scary tale. Since many beetles do not depend on their heads for essential bodily functions, this peculiar resilience is made possible. They can breathe without a head, thanks to their decentralized neural systems and spiracles, which are tiny apertures along the body. They obviously can't eat, drink, or react to sophisticated stimuli if they don't have a brain. Death then comes after. Nevertheless, their ability to live at all is evidence of how resilient insect physiology is. It draws attention to the striking structural contrasts between vertebrates and invertebrates. Beetles endure in a strange half-life state until their systems fail, whereas humans cannot survive even a few seconds without a head. Caterpillars' chewing vibrations are audible to plants. Despite not having ears, plants can nonetheless hear their surroundings. According to studies, certain plants are able to recognize vibrations, such as the distinct sound made by caterpillars as they devour their leaves. The pumps react to these vibrations by fortifying their tissues or releasing protective substances to prevent additional assault. This capability serves as a sort of early warning system, enabling them to plan for harm before it gets serious. Plants with vibrational sensitivity may also react better to wind, rain, or pollinator buzzes. Although they appear passive to people, plants are actually extremely sensitive to their surroundings and can sense and respond in ways that we are only now starting to comprehend. It is both unnerving and uplifting to consider that a leaf could hear the sound of being eaten. One more indication that plants are far from helpless. Octopuses have the ability to modify their texture and color. Despite their well-known ability to blend in with their surroundings, octopuses are capable of much more than just changing their color. Their skin contains unique cells called chromatophores, which contract and extend to reveal pigments, producing patterns and colors instantly. These are followed by leucophores and iridophores, which provide shimmering effects by reflecting and scattering light. Even more amazing is the fact that octopuses can change the texture of their skin itself, making lumps appear or smoothing them out to resemble sand, coral, or rocks. When combined, these changes enable them to quickly blend into almost any background. There is more to this disguise than just defense. During mating or conflict, it can also be used to communicate with other octopuses. A living magic show, with a body reinventing itself in real time, is what it's like to see an octopus change. In nature, identity and appearance are fluid, malleable, and infinitely inventive, as few species more eloquently illustrate. The blood of Antarctic icefish is transparent. A family of fish with blood that is unlike any other vertebrate inhabits the icy waters of the Southern Ocean. It's totally clear. Hemoglobin, the protein that delivers oxygen and gives blood its red hue, is absent from icefish, in contrast to most other species. Rather, through their skin and plasma, they directly take in oxygen from the frigid, oxygen-rich seas. Their massive hearts compensate by continuously pumping blood to keep tissues nourished. Although this adaptation may appear drastic, it is effective in their frigid habitat. Because of their unique biochemistry, which may provide clues about metabolism and circulation, scientists are captivated by icefish. Their transparent blood serves as a reminder that even characteristics we take for granted, such as red blood, are not fixed. The issue of survival is always resolved in some other way by life. Some birds have regional dialects in which they sing. To the untrained ear, birdsong may sound monotonous, yet close examination shows differences. Dialects that are specific to a given region. On the west coast of North America, for instance, white-crowned sparrows sing a different song than their inland counterparts. Like human accents, these dialects can gradually alter over time as they are learned and passed down from one generation to the next. Even mating behavior can be influenced by dialects, as females may favor males whose songs are in the local tongue. These differences demonstrate that learning and tradition are not exclusive to humans and are used by scientists to investigate how culture spreads in non-human animals. Even the natural world has its own modest but profoundly significant kinds of culture, as may be heard when strolling through a forest and listening to birdsong in regional dialects. The axolotl is a lifelong larva and never fully matures. Native to the lakes surrounding Mexico City, the axolotl is a salamander that never grows old. The axolotl maintains its larval traits throughout its life, in contrast to most frogs that change into adults. Even when it reaches sexual maturity, it maintains its watery lifestyle, fluffy gills, and juvenile physique. Axolotls are able to procreate without ever leaving the water thanks to a phenomenon known as neoteny. Aside from their peculiar growth, axolotls are also masters of regeneration. They can rebuild sections of their brains, spinal cords, and limbs. They were associated with survival and transformational gods in local mythology. They are also emblems of wonder and tenacity today. They are the subject of extensive scientific investigation in an effort to uncover the mysteries of regeneration that could eventually aid in human healing. The axolotl is paradoxically both fully grown up and perpetually a youngster. About every 10 years, your skeleton gets replaced. Your skeleton is alive and constantly evolving, even though it feels substantial and noticeable. Old bone tissue is continuously broken down and replaced by new material by specialized cells. This remodeling procedure eventually guarantees that almost your whole skeleton is replaced every 10 or so years. Because of this turnover, bones can strengthen with usage, adjust to new stressors, and fix minor damage before it becomes problematic. It also implies that your current skeleton is different from the one you had 10 years ago. Compared to living constructions that are continuously constructed and repaired, bones are less like monuments. We are linked to the concept of impermanence through this process. Even the most resilient portions of our bodies are flexible and ever-changing. A component of life's constant renewal, there is an old and new framework inside of you, rebuilt by the body itself, stone by stone. Thus, we reach the conclusion of our exploration of the serene and complex realm of life. From woods whispering beneath the soil to tiny hearts pounding faster than the human eye can see tonight. From the luminous bodies of creatures in the nighttime depths of the oceans to the invisible spirals of DNA reaching across the cosmos, we explored the myriad forms that life can take. Biology serves as a reminder that the world is dynamic and full of growth, motion, and unending cycles of change. Bones break down and grow back. Silently, forests talk. We can hardly comprehend the ways in which animals adapt. Wings that resemble stained glass, eyes as big as plates of food, bodies that regenerate, shine, or freeze. And this story includes you as well. Unseen activity hums through your body. Trillions of cells are mending, remembering, and dividing. Every breath, every heartbeat, and every fleeting thought is a thread in the enormous fabric of existence. Even when you are at rest or in a state of calm, life is still working inside of you and slowly advancing you. Like lanterns in the dark, the things we discussed tonight might have inspired brief moments of awe. Remind us that despite appearances, the world is richer, stranger, and more remarkable. If this peaceful journey brought you peace, or if you're already falling asleep, realize that this is also a natural part of the biological cycle. Every living creature is interwoven with rest and rebirth. You're invited to join me for another scientific adventure in the upcoming video if you're still awake and want to learn more. And if you're floating away, then let these parting words transport you sweetly into dreams. I appreciate you spending this time with me under the soft light of curiosity. If you found this voyage enjoyable, you might like to subscribe or leave a thoughtful comment below. One drowsy soul at a time, it helps more wandering brains make their way here. But there's nothing else to do for the time being. The day is over. The inquiries can wait. While you sleep, the living world will go about its silent business. Give yourself permission to relax, drift deeper, and fall into the peaceful embrace of sleep. Even so, you dream about forests, seas, and skies, as well as all the odd and lovely forms of life. Good night.